not, let's just relax and just allow the ability to mess up. And if we mess up, we laugh, and if we mess up, we try and make it a little bit better, and we see what we can do with it. At the top of the card was Corey Sandhagen, or the Sandman. The performance showed that he wasn't just trying to score a performance of the night, he was trying to etch another notch on the grand plan, the master plan, because if you've seen what he's done after he faced Yan, he chucked a knee up the middle and then he lost it against TJ. I think he's just been a little bit sloppy. Like, I'm not even going to finish that sentence, and I think that he's so much more high and undeserving. I think that one day that we're going to look back and realise that you should have started swerving Corey Sandhagen or Ginger Jelly, because every time he watches, I think he's must see on the telly. And then we have a look at Jake Paul and Nate Diaz, and we'll see what they've done. I think anything that they've done, they've generated an eye-watering sum. And if you had a son that managed to generate the business and attention that Jake Paul does, you'd be pretty proud, because when you look, he's actually a star now. You look at followings, it's 24 mil. You look at McGregor, it's 40. And yes, that's a big deal, because in this game, that's a big metric. And when you have a look at it, it's a little bit hectic, because when you think about it, Jake Paul and Conor McGregor, it shouldn't make sense. And at one time, I told you were delusional and you didn't have 2 cents. But now when you think about it, it makes a few pence, because we're talking about millions of pay-per-views. And if you're talking you're not going to watch it, that's a lie between me and you, because I'm solely invested. Jake actually kind of looked okay, and Nate really did get bested. But we saw everything that we expected to see from a Nate Diaz fan, and I'm kind of happy he left the UFC. It's kind of fun seeing him in a boxing realm, and I think at no point was he ever in the helm of that fight. And if it went right, I don't know if it would have been different that night. He was talking about a bad shoulder. I don't know if that was down to it. But one thing I do know is Jake Paul, I mean, that loss, he will never quit, because he came back with good footwork and started hitting check hooks. I mean, check look. Jake Paul stepped back and hit an uppercut. An uppercut. He hit an uppercut stepping back. That's like what we was talking about Corey Sandhagen way back when last week. And you have the cheek to tell me that Jake Paul isn't doing something special. You must be nuts. He's 7-1 as a pro, and he's doing it on the stage at that amount of pressure and delivering clutch. You can tell me these are old men and they're in the MMA game and whatever else, but he's not necessarily just doing this for fame and wealth. He's doing this for a little bit more. You can see that if you actually look behind the door. I went on his podcast and didn't expect what I did see or did saw, because he had his best friends there, and I thought they were going to be a little bit naive. Gonna be honest, I thought they were going to be a little bit naive, but good answers they really did achieve, because when they spoke to Jake Paul, he really opened up. And then you start realizing that you have this image built up of someone that you really don't even know, and your opinions and hatred, and they just fall down like snow in Omaha when it gets cold. And I even saw Bud Crawford the other day, and that was cold. And then I'm going to come back to the story until it gets old, because these days in MMA world, 4 days is old. And a story that got told from then, now, it gets frowned upon in the MMA community. I don't know what you want from me. What you trying to do to me? They're trying to chuck me in like I'm stewing meat, and I'm stewing beef, because it's taken a long time to get any appreciation. Start looking at depreciation when you have a look at these people that have been in the game for 20 years. Sometimes you do see the scars and you do see the tears behind the scenes. When I went to Fight Star Championships this weekend at the O2 Indigo, it was crazy. You see it from a whole different perspective, and you just can't help but thinking, this is what made me love the sport. And when you get there and you see it in its full, you just realise that this goes way deeper than what we see. This goes way deeper, and you can't even be a sleeper on the fact that they put their life on the line. And then I went online and saw Twitter online that someone said that they found it cringe. I think that you should go back to your hinge and your swiping, because this sport isn't for you if you don't like that. Because you have to go in with a mentality. You have to. It's him or me. Otherwise, it's going to be you sleeping on the canvas after eating a knee. And it is deadly if you don't go into this game with full health and full attention. That's why nowadays you see the amateurs, and it's ridiculous. That's why you see it. You'll get litigation if you go there and you don't prepare. Because I swear to God, people don't come in out of shape like a little pair 40-year-old rolling off the street. trying to get a beat down on a young kid that's never seen a Brazilian jiu-jitsu class in their life. They'll have you cutting through their guard like a knife. And I'm going to fizzle out of this song because I don't even think it's a song. But then it made me think of Song Yadong just off the top of their head. Flipping hell. It was a thin line between life or death, like it was a thong. Didn't even want to have to do that to Song Yadong. But he's one of my favourites and generally a really scary and terrifying prospect. I'm glad that he came out and he told his perspective, because it really spoke to people, I feel, that encounter issues and they don't know how to deal with it because they feel like less of a man. You realise, you see Song Yadong standing there and even he's holding his hands. You realise sometimes it's a better idea to walk away, take your health and walk away, and take your mental health and walk away, because that's not a game you want to play. And anyway, I'll sign off on that. So keep it casual. And that was just a freestyle off the hat. I can't believe I just did that, but that was fun. Keep it casual next week, every Wednesday. Peace.